Canada's housing crisis is a nightmare for millions. Home ownership, a fading mirage for millions of Canadians, young families, seniors, struggling Canadians alike, has finally met its match. Enter Mark Carney. The former central banker, now Prime Minister, is spearheading an unprecedented wartime effort to build homes just to fix this crisis. But the question is, and I'm sure you're asking this yourself, is this strategy enough to reshape Canada's housing market from a mirage into reality? So, what is the plan? Carney vows to double the pace of annual home building in Canada to 500,000 homes a year over the next decade. He's launched Build Canada Homes, or BCH for short, a lean, mission-driven public agency that's going to build directly on public lands and revolutionize the construction industry with prefabricated technology. Throughout this video, we're going to break down Carney's bold plan and its challenges. And if you find this deep dive analysis helpful, hitting the like button lets me know what type of content or topics you want to see more of from me in the future. Carney's plan isn't all just talk. There's a financial blueprint that underpins all this, focusing on 5 key areas. The first is $25 billion in debt financing and $1 billion in equity. This massive investment is designed to supercharge prefab builders, cut costs, and drastically cut back on construction time. Just imagine mass producing homes in a factory-like environment where the construction time isn't months, it's weeks. And then the home is assembled directly on site in a matter of a few short days. Next is $10 billion in low-cost financing. This pool of money is specifically designed to target deep affordable projects like supportive housing, indigenous communities, and student housing. This isn't just about general market housing. It's specifically designed to go after the most vulnerable segments of our population and ensure that everyone has a roof over their head. The third key area is cutting municipal development charges by 50% for multi-unit projects. These charges, which can add tens of thousands of dollars to the cost of a home, are a significant barrier to both builders and buyers. The fourth key area is reviving the 1970s tax incentives, such as the MURB cost allowance and easing tax liabilities to convert existing structures into affordable homes. This clever idea encourages converting old office properties, commercial spaces, or even underutilized properties into much needed residential units. This offers a faster path to increasing supply than starting from scratch. The last key area is sweeping regulatory reforms. Beyond the financing we just talked about, the plan also calls for cutting the infamous red tape to speed up the approvals process, while also reworking mortgage terms so buyers can lock in longer fixed rate deals, like the US, where they can lock in a fixed rate mortgage for 25, 30 years. That's the concept. This one move on its own is going to bring back so much more stability and predictability for home buyers facing a volatile interest rate environment. Think about it. Knowing that your mortgage rate is fixed for the next 25, 30 years, it's just going to bring you a peace of mind knowing that is a fixed cost that you can easily budget for the next, again, 25, 30 years. For nearly 20 years, alongside a surging population, Canada has struggled with systematic underbuilding. Experts say that we actually need 6 million new homes by the time we get to 2030 just to bring back affordability to the housing market. Now, initially you might think, wow, 2030, we have some time, but we're actually in the middle of 2025. We don't even have 5 years to get there. And 6 million homes over 5 years, that means you actually have to build 1.2 million homes a year for the next 5 years. So that's how the crisis started. But then it got worse, and this worsening got compounded by 4 key bottlenecks. Even with approved projects, just securing the necessary capital, it can be a bureaucratic nightmare. This leads to frustrating delays or project cancellations altogether, despite the need for more housing supply. Then add on crippling municipal and provincial red tape. And this is the part which really boggles my mind. Permit applications take years, not months. Add on layers of approval, zoning disputes, consultations, which significantly slows down the construction timeline, not to mention adding immense cost to the overall project. Third, every time any provincial or federal government comes in, they bring their own policies. Those policies inevitably fail. What this does is that it cuts off necessary investments. Some well intentioned government policies have actually inadvertently created disincentives, or they've scared away essential private capital needed for large scale housing projects. What all this does is actually shrinks the pool of funds available for this construction sector. And fourth, a persistent shortage of labor and skilled trades. Now, this isn't the labor shortage that all the Tim Hortons seem to claim year after year. This is specifically around the skilled trades. Let me tell you what that actually means. The average age of a skilled tradesperson in Canada is actually rising, and there just isn't enough of a talent pipeline to bring in new candidates into this field to meet today's massive demand for construction. This creates a huge bottleneck for building at scale. So how does Carney's bold action plan actually compare to other proposals to fix Canada's housing market? Well, first, if we take a look at the previous Liberal government, what they did was they created a national housing strategy. The problem with that strategy was that one, it focused on indirect funding, two, it faced immense criticism for a slow rollout, and three, it just had a limited direct impact on housing supply. So it just failed altogether. The Conservatives, their plan was to directly tie federal grants to municipal housing targets, and if cities lagged, they would be penalized financially, effectively pushing the responsibility to local governments. The NDP, on the other hand, experts say that their proposal was focused on more extreme measures, such as banning large corporate landlords or using crown land for rentals and offering public-backed low mortgages. Carney's key difference, and what makes this plan so audacious, is a direct government involvement via BCH. And you pair all that with public land leverage, hefty financial incentives, and cutting-edge construction methods like modular homes. This is a significant departure from previous governments, where they focus more on a hands-off, indirect funding approach, where Carney is aiming for direct intervention, directly focusing on housing supply. This revolutionary approach can massively change things, hopefully for the better. But your thoughts on this are also very important. Let me know in the comments section if you want to see more deep dives like this into other specific policy solutions. And remember, your likes guide that too. Despite the bold vision, implementing a plan of this magnitude does come with immense hope, but also some very significant challenges. Here are 3 reasons why I'm feeling optimistic about all this and why you might also feel some optimism. The first is strong federal leadership. This could inject unprecedented accountability and urgency into housing delivery. Second reason to be optimistic is the promise of prefabrication. This innovation offers faster, cheaper, and potentially more sustainable construction, fundamentally changing the name of the game on how housing is built as we know it. Third reason to be optimistic is reduced fees and revived tax breaks. But there are also very real 4 key challenges that still remain. The first is coordination within the government itself. Provinces, they control housing, and having seamless communication between municipal, provincial, and federal governments, what ends up doing is creates a bottleneck. Can today's government solve that critical bottleneck? Second is the bureaucratic risk. Carney is looking to implement BCH, which is going to be a government agency, but it has to be built from scratch. And as we know from past governments, they've all tried their new agencies or new incentives, and what happened? They all inevitably failed because they were too slow, too reactive. Third risk is labor shortage. We've already talked about that the answer may lie in building these prefab homes. But the challenge is if you have something to build, but there's no one to build it, you're not going to get anywhere. And experts are saying that we're actually missing 1 million skilled trades to meet today's construction needs. So again, can we solve this construction gap by bringing in more people into skilled trades? The fourth risk is market dynamics. Let's say all this works out and you bring back affordability into the housing market. Yes, it'll be cheaper for new buyers, newcomers, etc. But then that's also going to put a huge dent into the existing homeowners' equity. What this does is now you have created a political tightrope where you have to balance the prices for new buyers, for newcomers. But also, what happens to all those seniors whose entire nest egg is their home? If their equity goes down, well, now their retirement's at risk. So how do you balance all that? With BCH, a revolutionary construction concept with prefab homes and full fiscal reforms around how mortgages work, this is a bold new vision for Canada's housing market. This could completely redefine what homeownership was always meant for Canada before it got off track. But all this success is going to hinge on, can he sort the intergovernment politics between federal, provincial, municipal? Can he fulfill the labor shortage where we need 1 million more skilled workers just to meet the demand for construction? And lastly, can he sustain this political will that he's got right now just because he's near the job? Can he sustain that will to act decisively for years to come until he solves the crisis? The stakes couldn't be higher. If he manages to solve this, we're going to have a modern housing boom like we've never seen before. But if he fails, home ownership is going to then slip away for generations of Canadians yet to come. So what do you think? Can a centralized, innovative approach finally solve Canada's housing crisis? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And if this in-depth analysis sparked your curiosity, hit that like and subscribe button, because your engagement truly lets me know what kind of topics resonate with you so I can focus on producing content that you find the most valuable. That's it for now. I'll talk to you in the comments section.